My name is Emmanuel Asari. I'm a lecturer in IT, and thank you for giving me this amazing opportunity to take this very course. Okay, so I'll start kicking off by saying welcome to the free A plus IT skills based assessment part 1. Today I'm going to talk about the very computer system unit, the very key components and interfaces which are relevant. Okay, so let's go straight into our PC. Okay, so I'm working with this very Dell PC which I've taken off. This is the very old used form of desktop system unit. So what we can find is I've got a whole set of external ports for this very PC, which we can all see. And right here we have the various sections of the old modern DVD-ROM disk drives, USBs, which is the front area of the system unit. So before I go into the PC to name the very parts, you can see right here we have the expansion card slots, whereby there's room for much more USBs to be plugged in. Over here we have the PSU power cable that goes in there, and if we go further down we have the ports whereby we could put in a microphone and audio jack. Right here we have the RJ45 for Ethernet connections to the internet. We have extra USB connectors, we have a mouse and keyboard, we have the parallel, and we have the connectors for our monitor in terms of using the monitors. Okay, now we're going to look inside the PC. Right inside the PC, we can see a whole combination of wires. We can see a whole combination of parts. So I'm going to go through the main important parts as far as the skills-based assessment is concerned. So if we should look right here on the top hand side, we can see all these cablers. So these are referred to the very old ones, which is called a PATA cable, PATA power cable, which connects these very what we call devices in here. So the very devices to our motherboard. What we can find here is this is the hard drive, and this hard drive is connected via this very PATA cable straight into the motherboard, which is plugged in here. So we can find the same PATA cable connected from the optical drive, and it goes in straight here onto the motherboard. And we can see it's in old formats. We have the diskette drive here, which is also connected to the motherboard. So these are how data is being transferred using the PATA cable. We can also see the Molex cable. So these are the Molex cable. So the Molex cable is also connected to what we call our PSU. So we could see how power is being generated from the PSU, which goes straight into these drives. And this same PSU, which is our power supply unit, also generates power from the PSU straight onto our motherboard, which is plugged in here. So that's how the power is being generated across on this very system unit. If we look over here, this is our expansion card slot, which is being plugged in using what we call PCI. So PCI gives us varieties of adding extra, expansion card slots. We could see in here, we could plug in extra expansion card using PCI, and also we can plug in extra VGA cables if we want, or extra sound card if we don't have one. Over here, we could see extra PATA cables, which are still connected right on the motherboard. And right away we finish the cables, we finish with the main parts, which is we talked about the hard drive, we've talked about the optical drive, we talked about the diskette drive, we've talked about the PSU, we've talked about extra area for our PCI expansion card. Now we're going to see this very huge black thing here, which is our heatsink, which connects directly. We could find our processor really beneath this. So the heatsink acts as a cooling vent for our processor so that it doesn't get too heated. So that is the power of the power. That's the usefulness of the heatsink, and we have our processor just beneath. Right away from our processor, we can see what is right here, which is our north bridge. So the north bridge directly, what it does is directly assigned next to the processor. So we could see it's directly assigned to our processor via our front side bus called FSB. So a memory controller is located on the north bridge, which gives the CPU fast access to the memory. That's the idea of the north bridge. And we have our south bridge, which is also next to our RAMs. That is where we can find our south bridge. Aside that, we could find our RAM slots. So our RAM slots are over here. We could find two RAM sticks. You can see these two RAM sticks, which are slide in, pushed into the slots, and that is where we get our memory from. So RAM stands for random access memory, and that's what is being generated for these PCs to function. Not to the same as our hard drive memory, which is our ROM, which is read-only memory. That's the main difference. So aside these are the main key components that we can really talk about. And we could see all these lines which are on the motherboard. These are controlled buses, which data is being transferred across on the motherboard over these very lines we do find. Also, we can find capacitors, which are on these, and we can find other transistors. We can find lights, which shows that it is on, and we can find extra ports or extra sections which connects to our ports right here on the motherboard. So that is a complete detail of information regarding what the key components basically are for any system unit of a PC to function. So I'm very happy about this very information. I hope you understood as we went through the very interfaces of the system unit and the main parts within the system unit by going through the main key components. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching. Thank you. Bye.